So as I rewrote the book, we give you very specific tools and tactics on ways to be proactive with gaining feedback, working through that feedback, and taking very specific action for the purposes of improvement and the purpose of providing the best service that we possibly can. That's what this chapter is all about. And Dee Dee, I'd like to turn it over to you, because you've been the person who's been leading the building of the service in your district and now coaching it. But I'd love for you to tell a couple of stories about how that was reflected in your district.
Well, thank you. And thanks again for the opportunity. We as a district certainly really embraced our parent and our employee feedback surveys. And we as a team would meet collectively to really analyze that. And so while we had some good scores, they weren't great scores. And that's what we were trying to achieve. And so when we really looked at the parent feedback, especially, we thought, how can we improve on this? And so I think intentionality became the key word. What were some intentional things that we could do from the first person that answered the phone when parents would call in, or when people would come in to check their kids in and out, that we were very service oriented, focusing on excellence. So a couple of quick stories I'll tell. What we found is within our school system, there were a lot of schools doing a really great job with service excellence with parents, but some had a longer runway to try to have a better liftoff with some of the parents. And so one principal in particular talked about the feedback loop, just like what Donna did in your story, where she quickly looped back with you. And so this particular principal, anytime she had an encounter with a parent that it didn't go well, even though the best decision was made that they could make at the time, the parent still just was not happy, she would put it on her calendar and she would call that parent back 2 weeks later. And it became a procedure, a process that everybody in our district started doing. And when she called back, she would say, you know, I just wanted to check back in. I know you weren't really happy with the decision we had to make, but I wanted to see how things were 2 weeks later. How's your child? How are things progressing? And then another tactic that we used was, we read in some of the comments about people were put on hold. And, you know, it's the end of the day, school's out, the kid doesn't get off the bus, the parent's frantic. And the last thing they want to do is to call and be put on hold and then sent to somebody's voicemail, because they want to know where that child is. And so we started to really share out how we talked to them to try to de-escalate that we did have to put them on hold to call the schools, for somebody to radio the bus driver, but to say to them, we are going to find out the answer. We're going to keep touching base back with you while you're on hold, but we will not put you to anybody's voicemail. We're not going to leave you until we can connect you directly to somebody that can get you the answer that you need. Those are just a few examples. But when you add all of those things up together, then the word starts to spread that we're following up, following through with intentionality. And so what happened for us in our district is that after about a year with Studer, and we had never even talked about this at all, but we were voted the best place to work in our county. And I know that a lot of people get that, but for us, that was a big deal. I mean, it was way beyond just a jeans day. It was a jeans week, because we wanted everybody to know that it was because of that intentionality that that's what happened. That was the outcome. And so I'm so proud to say that that district has continued to receive that award every year since then. And that tells me that those Studer tactics in customer service and excellence have really cascaded and hardwired.